closely above it, the other eyebrow, refer back, yes, that's going all right. And then the nose divides the two. There's a feeling of the continuation of the sphere which I mentioned underneath the eye too. And you can always sense the outer edge of the orbit, which is the cheekbone. And I'm just putting indication of that in too. And this side as well. And now to the nose. As you remember from the skull, only the bridge of the nose is actually bony. The rest of it is made of cartilage and tissue. It's not always easy to see the difference. It tends to continue the same form, but it's not there on the skull. But very diagrammatically, we can say that this upper portion of the nose, this bridge area, has a slope up to the top. It has a top and has a slope down the other side. If you do that in cross section, it'd be rather like that. Now, continuing on from that, you get often the top plateau, long plateau, tends to be slightly wider, and the bottom part widens out slightly, and then you have a similar sort of reflection of the section here as an underside plane. Into that undersection are cut the actual nostrils where the air can go in. Now that's very schematic drawing of a nose. A slope up from one side, over the top and down the other side, more or less the same slope. Now let's draw the nose that we have, Richard's nose that we have in front of us. Going from the same point at the top here. This is the top of the slope from the right-hand side. Go over the top of the nose and down the other side. Now the fact that what I'm looking at has got light there and dark there is only of interest to us if we're actually doing a painting of light and shade. If we're actually analysing the shape of that nose and we want to find out what's going, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't draw that as a dark, because that slope is further away from us, there's less to be seen of it. This side we can see more. So again, drawing down the centre, the top of the nose widens. There's a sort of centre, almost a shine there, and there'll be a bit of shine up there. I can't actually see, or only a little tiny bit of the far nostril, but there's a very strong angle here where I'm beginning to see the base of the nose, equivalent to that. And although this nostril is part of the slope upwards, it does curve out a little bit more and then cuts back in again. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't put tone wherever you feel like it. It'll make the structure clearer. Now I can cut in the nostril and it flows around, and out of that grows the upper lip, the middle of the upper lip. To put it in context, there's that eye and there's the eye there. I'd like to ask Richard to tip your head back quite a lot so I can look. That's good, that's good. Let's draw that. Now I'm starting this time from underneath the nose because that's the sort of dominant feature. And again we have the same sort of triangle as I drew there, but we're looking up into it more. And there's the central septum of the nose. and look carefully at the shape of the nostril. It's not just a nondescript hole, it's a sort of comma shape. Now, this is the underside, and now we're climbing over onto the tip of the nose, and it's turning back. There's still a top to it, and a side, and here's the side of the nostril. So that's the underside. The top side of the nostril curves around. This one is nearly hidden because growing and continuous with it, remember that no facial feature exists on its own. It's running into every other feature. So inevitably you can't help looking at the centre of the upper lip here, and back to the nose, and try to find the slope, how it intersects with the plane of the eyes. Now, it started off with quite strong planes, but you can, as long as you understand where the main turns come, you can then modify it into relatively softly gradated shape. And that perspective of the nose, remembering that each side of it, you've got the plane of the cheek, will lead you to the positioning of the eyes. Now remember again, when we looked at the skull, that where the teeth were defines where the mouth is. In fact, if you actually push your tongue forward between your teeth, you'll find it's going to be fairly closely in line with the parting of the lips. And characteristically, the upper lip is composed of, it can be thought of as three forms. Remembering that the mouth is actually the inside of the inner mouth turned to the exterior and has the colouring of the interior of the mouth. Now, I see the upper lip typically as having two lozenge type forms and joined in the middle by a cleft sort of bulb. Typically the lower lip has only two forms.